I would like to pay obeisances. I would like to pay obeisances to my Guru Maharaj and the Acharya Pranami. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Maha Vishnu Goswami iti namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Namo Mahavadana Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Gaur Tuse Namo Namah. Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Jagaddataya Krishna Govinda Namo Namah. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be part of this Japa Talk. Thank you so much. To Gauradas Prabhu and Mataji and all the other devotees. My hope is to pass the instructions of my Guru Maharaj. So in this endeavor, I hope to represent him in such a way as to satisfy him and to bring some benefit to all of us. So I pray for all of your blessings for us to do that. So I'll start with Queen Kunti's prayers, the first two prayers. Namasya Purusham Tvadyam Ishvaram Prakrite Param Alaksham Sarva Bhutana Antarbahir Avasthitam Maya Javanika Channam Agnadhoksha Avyayam Na Lakshase Muradrisha Nato Natyo Dharo Vyatha. Of course, there's much to be spoken for each verse, but I'm just picking one thread. So if we notice in these verses, Queen Kunti says that Alaksham Sarva Bhutanam Antar Bahir Avasthitam, even though you are present inside and outside, Antar Bahir Avasthitam, yet Alaksham Sarva Bhutanam, yet you can't be seen by anybody. And then the next verse, she says about Maya Javanika Channam, there she says, Na Lakshase Mura Drisha, Nato Natyam Dharo Yatha, and that you cannot be seen by people like us, just like an actor dressed on the stage is not recognized. So just to give a little context, right? We all know Amitabh Bachchan, of course, including me. So we know Amitabh Bachchan has his wife, Jaya Bachchan. He has a son, a daughter, so on and so forth. We know that we know something about Amitabh Bachchan as a person. Yet if you notice, when we are actually watching a movie, maybe a very sweet movie, very nice movie, very moving movie, how much do we remember of him? If you notice, most of the time we are moved by the movie itself, right? If let's say he has a wife and he has, say, 2 children, and they're going through good times and bad times and unhappiness, and he's very poor, he's very rich, we're actually moved by that. And if you notice, we don't really remember that he's actually Amitabh Bachchan. So it's a crude example, but just to help us understand that even though the Lord is acting through our mother, our father, our relatives, our bosses, our circumstances, we are so aware of the current situation, we are so absorbed in it that we can't see him. So in the same way, there's another verse which that I connected with in this regard is from Narad Muni, where he talks about, it's 1625. Yeah, 1625 is Etavadutvo Pararamatan Maha Bhutam Nabhulingamalingam Aham Chatasmai Mahatam Mahiyase Shishnava-namam vidadhenukam pitaha. So the translation goes as, then that supreme personality, or then that supreme authority, personified by sound and unseen by eyes, but most wonderful, stopped speaking. Feeling a sense of gratitude, I offered my obeisances by bowing my head. So this is Narad Muni after he experiences the Lord and then loses him, and then the Lord speaks to him instead. So here this is my Guru Maharaj explains this. He says we should churn on this particular verse over and over. He says, Etavad uktva pararama tanmahal bhutam anabholingam alingam ishwaram So unseen by eyes, we kind of have that experience, right? That we can't see something beyond the wall. We can't see something in somebody else's mind, or we can't, see what's happening on the road outside. So unseen by eyes, we can understand. But personified by sound, that's a very interesting phrase. Personified by sound, we actually do not have much of an experience there. And like Maharaj likes to say, that if we could actually realize that he's personified in the sound, we would not leave chanting. Right? We would be chanting forever. The same thing is mentioned even Nam Nam in Shikshashtaka, second verse. Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nij Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smarne Nakala Eta Dishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Namapi Durdevam Idrisham Iha Jani Nanu Raga. So similar kind of message is there, that Nam Nam Akari Bahudha Nij Sarva Shaktis. He has placed all his energies in his Nam. But the last part is that I have no attraction for them. So because then again, it's the same point, that we all have an experience that even a little bit of diversion towards the spiritual, can make us very free of material miseries, material anxieties, material stress. But the spiritual diversion does not happen, right? So even though Krishna has placed all his energies in his names, or here it says, Bhutam Nabholingam Alingam Ishwaram, that he's personified by sound, we are not able to realize it. And if we could realize, we would not drop chanting even for a second. For this, Maharaj gives a very nice example. He says, like, I'm sitting in this room, and in this room, the doors are open, the windows are open. So, the air is flowing. The sunshine is going through. Maybe some dust is also coming through. So Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, we lost you for a second.
Now we can hear you, Mataji.
Please carry on, Mataji.
Sorry, sir, I got muted somehow. I don't know. So till where could I be heard?
You were telling about the sunshine
And the dust.
coming from
Okay.
the windows.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So the room, right? I'm sitting in a room and the windows are open, the doors are open. So the air is flowing through. I can experience the sunshine, maybe some dust also. So in that sense, all of Krishna's energies can be experienced by me, right? Now, if I decide to put an AC in my room, what happens? Because I'm to put the AC, I'll close the windows, I close the door, and then I can now control or condition my room the way I want to. So now I cannot experience Krishna's energies, but I've conditioned the room so that even if it is hot outside, it is cold inside. If it is cold outside, I have hot inside. So in that way, I am able to condition things to my comfort, to my desire, but the result is that I cannot experience Krishna's energies. So this example is given by Maharaj to help us understand that in the same way, we are not able to divert our minds towards the spiritual because of the number of conditionings we add on ourselves. So therefore, what is the solution? And so the solution that is provided by the authorities is, one is to minimize our material necessities, to live more in alignment with nature. However, that by itself will not be enough, because I can minimize my necessities. I can, live according to nature, but what will happen? Now I have a lot of time because I have reduced a lot of my necessities. What do I do? So if I don't have anything positive to do, I will just, be lethargic. I will again get into some kind of sense gratification or lethargy or something like that. So there are two things. So one is to minimize our material necessities or to be more aligned with natural living. At the same time, there must be following of Varnashram Dharma, or in our case, service. And this is very nicely explained in, or this is also corroborated in Brahma Samhita verse 558. I'll read that. Prabhuddhe jnana bhakti bhyam atmani ananda chinmayi udeti anuttama bhaktir bhagavat prema lakshana. Prabhuddhe means when excited. Gyan, knowledge. Bhakti bhyam, by devotional service. So then he says, when the pure spiritual experience is excited by means of cognition and service, bhakti, super excellent unalloyed devotion characterized by love of Godhead is awakened towards Krishna, the beloved of all souls. So I'll repeat it again. When the pure spiritual experience is excited by means of cognition and service, super excellent unalloyed devotion characterized by love of Godhead is awakened towards Krishna, the beloved of all souls. So here also, if you notice, the two important words are in this pure spiritual experience is excited by means of cognition and service. Cognition means real knowledge, and service, of course, we know as devotional service or service. So what does real knowledge mean? Prabhupada gives in the purport, real knowledge is nothing but knowledge of one's relationship with the absolute truth. Real knowledge is nothing but knowledge of one's real relationship with the absolute truth, which goes very well with the example of the room, that the more we understand our real connection with the Lord and we align our lives to that relationship, we live more according to what He has provided for us, what He desires from us, what His will is for us, rather than seeking our own ways of life. Then we actually gain more. We are acting in knowledge and we gain more knowledge. We reduce our conditioning, and the more conditioning we reduce, we can experience Krishna's energies or Krishna's plan for us more and more. So that is the first section, first dimension. And the second is service. So here, whether it is service, it can be direct service, like devotional service towards the Lord, whether it is deity worship, preaching, book distribution, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't have to be limited to that. Like we know in the 12th chapter, right, there are many different ways of serving the Lord. He gives it himself. So if we can go through that, I'll just quickly get there. So he starts with Mai eva man adhasva, Mai buddhim niveshaya, nivasishyasi Mai eva ata udvam na samshaya. So that's the highest level. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Now, if somebody can do that, nothing like it. That's like Haridas Thakur. Most of us aren't at that level. So then he says, Atha chittam samadhatum na shaknusi mayi stiram abhyasa yogina tato mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. Says, okay, if you, my dear Arjuna, winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So then we practice of different angas of devotional service. Then he says, even if you abhyasepya samarthosi mad karma paramo bhava mad artham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsisi. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. So like, a lot of devotees, they dedicate their entire life in the service of the Lord in different ways, different undertakings for the Lord directly. But he says, okay, our scriptures are very practical. So they say, then he goes on, Athaita dapya shaktosi kartum madhyogam ashritaha sarva karma phalatyagas tatha kuru yatatmavan. He says, okay, but maybe I'm not able to, dedicate my entire life serving Krishna's goals, Krishna's activities directly. Then try to act, giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. So that is normally what our past ancestors would show to us, right? That they would earn money, but most of the money would be given away to the temples, or they would use it for digging wells or piau, like creating water facility for people, or planting trees, which would fruit-bearing trees, so that people could actually benefit from them, passers-by could benefit. The culture was never to create big, beautiful houses and beautiful cars and spend more and more money on ourselves. The idea was more and more the money comes, then money must be, Lakshmi must be used in Narayana's service or in the service of benefiting the world as his representative. And then he says, okay, even if that is not possible, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnana dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phala tyagas tyaga chantir anantaram. So if you can't do this also, then he says you cultivate knowledge. But better than knowledge is meditation. Meditation meaning actually meditate, contemplate on Krishna. What is Krishna? What is all, could I actually live without sunshine? Could I actually live without air? Could I actually live without having any parents? How was I born? How did my parents get chosen for me? So many questions are there to meditate, to contemplate upon, and contemplate on the scriptures. What are the scriptures actually saying? How do they relate to my life? Are they right? Are they wrong? They are of course right, but why? If I'm not able to see the right in them, how? What is missing in me? What knowledge do I need to gain? What purification I need to cultivate that meditation? But better than meditation is to renounce the fruits of action. Why? Because by renouncing the fruits of action, directly we will allow Krishna's energies to come into our life or to be experienced by us. Because if we don't renounce our energy, what happens? We will only add to the conditioning in our life. Like the example of the room, the more conditioning, more comfort, creature comforts we have, more satisfaction of our desires we gain, harder it will be for us to experience Krishna. And so to that extent, if we renounce the fruits of action, instead of enjoying the fruits of our action, we give them away. To that extent, we will find satisfaction and an experience of Krishna's protection, Krishna's taking care of us. So back to this, I'll wrap up with this verse again. Prabhuddhe jnana bhakti bhyam atmani ananda chinmayi udeti anuttama bhaktir bhagavad prema lakshana. When the pure spiritual experience is excited by means of cognition and service, super excellent unalloyed devotion characterized by love of Godhead is awakened towards Krishna, the beloved of all souls. So the two things, if we want to experience Krishna, is one, minimize our own necessities and utilize the resources that we have in the either towards ideally towards Krishna and his service, or at least minimally towards the service of others who represent Krishna himself, because the whole world is Krishna's creation. And second thing is to engage in service. And service can be just as simple as cleaning. My Guru Maharaj would often joke with us, I don't understand why you people are idle or why you feel bored. You start cleaning up. By the time you start from one end, you finish, go to the other end of cleaning, you have to start all over again because the first part would have got dirty. So he said, I don't know, you can be always busy. So I'll leave this sentence with you all from my Guru Maharaj. He would always tell us, duster in one hand and Bhagavatam in the other. With that, that would help us if we are actually following these two things, reducing our material necessities and connecting with more and more service, then we will experience Krishna in the sound vibration personified by sound. And then our chanting will become qualitatively so much better. And we will actually have some hope of realizing Krishna in his names, like Nam Namakari Bahuda Nij Sarva Shaktis. And to the extent we experience him, to that extent, obviously, we will not want to leave him even for a minute. With that, I'd like to end here. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for your wonderful Japa talk. So I would like to open the floor for some questions if there are for Mataji. Okay. So I think so there are no questions, Mataji. So we'll end the session.
Jai Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam to all. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.